Time now for the editorial page. Iman Shumpert and J.R. Smith took some time out of their prep for the NBA Finals to weigh in on the state of the Knicks, and both think Carmelo Anthony, in his heart of hearts, wants to stay in New York. Shumpert told Stephen Bondi of the Daily News that Carmelo thinks he has unfinished business in New York. So, Sal, you think Melo's plan here is to try to wait out Phil Jackson?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's necessarily wait out Phil Jackson. I think it's been obvious that this whole time, when everybody's been talking about it, mainly Phil Jackson trying to get Carmelo out of New York, that Melo wants to do whatever possible to stay here. Even at this point, all he's been through. Now, I don't know if I'm taking Shumpert and Smith seriously. I don't know how close. I know they're friendly with Anthony, but I don't know how much they actually know about this latest situation here. But I do think deep down, no matter what, Anthony still wants to be here and figure out a way to make it work in New York.
I mean, I hope that's his plan, because that's a recipe for a lot of drama going forward and good stories and lots of, backbiting and all that sort of stuff, which is great for Daily News Live and for us to talk about here. So, Melo getting out of town is kind of a one-day story in that regard if it actually ever happens and he agrees to go. So I root for the longer story, the story that keeps on giving.
It does, that's for sure. Just ask Raceman.
Yes.
He loves it. But I would, in his position, though, wouldn't you want to try and win a championship somewhere? You know it's not going to happen here the next couple of years. So I know family concerns probably, maybe they play into it or whatever. Or maybe he's thinking, look, I went through it with Phil. What else can Phil say about me that's going to hurt me now at this point? But I mean, if I'm him, I'm looking for the right place. And maybe the right place isn't out there. Maybe nobody wants him. That could be part of it too. But if I'm him, I can get to the Celtics, which doesn't sound like it'll happen. Even the Clippers, I don't know. I just think I got to take a shot somewhere besides here.
I think that's a huge part of it. I think here's the problem. I think they're stuck in a bad marriage. Phil doesn't want him. Melo doesn't want Phil, but he wants to stay in New York. But who else wants Carmelo Anthony? I mean, once the Celtics, I thought that he would be the difference maker for the Celtics. You took the Cavs to 5. You really weren't that competitive.
I think you could have helped them.
Right. I definitely think. But you're not going to give up the #1 overall pick for Carmelo Anthony.
Well, put yourself in his shoes. You're saying, okay, well, wouldn't he want to go somewhere and win and not want to deal with this? Well, he's got all the power, right? He's got all the money. He's got all the fame. He's in a spot where clearly he's comfortable, regardless of what Phil Jackson says. Doesn't matter. Melo loves being in New York. Now, we don't know what's going on with his family. We once thought that was a significant thing with Lala and his son. We don't know if that still is significant, if he wants to be here because of that. Now with their obviously issues here. But Melo doesn't have to leave, so why be forced out? Why would you want to leave New York City if you love New York?
Don't you want to be on a better team?
Don't you want to win?
Well, that's
toward the end of your career.
I'm not so sure that he values winning more so than everything else.
That's a big issue.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I mean, here's the thing I look at it. What Phil Jackson said at that famous press conference about go chase the ring, he never should have said publicly. I get it.
Right.
But he's not wrong, right? The Knicks are rebuilding. They're playing. They want to get young players to fit the triangle that doesn't fit an older player. It's a bad marriage. So if you're Melo and the right deal comes up, wouldn't you want to waive your
there's also no guarantee you go somewhere else so you are going to win.
Right, absolutely. And how about where's the pressure on Phil to actually get some good players in there? I mean, his last offseason was a disaster, frankly.
Well, that's the other.
Don't let Phil off the hook.
That's the other reason why it's a bad marriage, because James Dolan's not going to fire Phil, so everyone's here stuck together. And unfortunately, it's your best case scenario, because it's going to be the same old story about a bad marriage instead of finally a fresh air with the Knicks. Not going to happen.
Maybe Carmelo wants to see who they get in the draft. And you never know. Maybe they get lucky, get that point guard. That's probably not.
Yeah, exactly.